welcome back. So it's time for my July wrap up, and I have a lot of books to talk about. So before this video is like 30 minutes long, we're just gonna get into it. I don't want this to be a really long video. You guys don't want this to be a really long video, so I'm not gonna talk a lot about the books that I'm reading. I'm gonna give like a little description, maybe. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So yeah, let's just get into this. So I read 20 books this month, which is just insane. It's partly because of the booktubeathon, which I read 8 in 1 week, and I want to say that was like the best week I've ever had, and that was the best readathon I've ever participated in, and it was just amazing and it was insane. This month has just been awesome. I haven't read a book that I absolutely hated, so that's really good. And there aren't many books that I absolutely loved, but I did really enjoy everything that I've read. So let's get into this wrap up. I've read 20 books, guys. Okay, so to start it out, I finished Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, which sounds like it's got to do with like magic and all these different types of witches. There's the main character is Sophia, who is a truth witch. She can discern a truth from a lie, and that's very rare, so a lot of people want her. It's got to do with like political intrigue as well, like kingdoms and everything, so there's a lot of politics that go in this book, and it was good. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. A lot of people really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it, so I gave it 3.5 stars. I am anticipating the second one, or I'm intrigued for the second one. I'm excited for the second one. Wow, I couldn't figure out the word. I'm excited for the second one to see what happens. With the ending of this one, I am definitely like on the edge of my seat. I need the second one in my hand so I can figure out what happens to Sophia and all the other characters. And the romance in this was nice. There isn't that much romance at all. It's like very tiny. This mostly has to do with friendship, which I enjoyed. But I did like the little romance that was in it, and I thought that definitely worked. So yeah, again, 3.5 stars. It was good, not my favorite, but I am excited for the rest of the series to see what happens. And then the next book I read, which I really loved, was My Lady Jane by Brody Ashton, Cynthia Hand, and Jody Meadows. This book was just awesome. This is a take on historical fiction, but with fantasy elements and humor, and it's just like a lot of what happens in here, a lot of what they say would not normally happen back then. Like, there are some parts that I was reading and I'm like, they wouldn't have said that. Okay. But yeah, there's fantasy elements as well. This is also has to do with political intrigue as well, because this is a take on Lady Jane Grey, who was Queen of England for 9 days before her head got chopped off, which these 3 lovely writers or authors didn't like that part of history, so they decided to rewrite it how they would want it, and that was just really good. And so there's 2 types of people. There are the Verities, and then there are the Ethians. Now, Ethians are like shapeshifters. They just turn into the type of animal that they are. The Lady Jane Grey marries G, or Gifford, I don't know how to say his name, but he turns into a horse. So yeah, there's the Ethians, and then there are the Verities, and the Verities are the people who just don't like the Ethians. They don't support them, and they want them dead. They're very, like, Queen Mary, Bloody Mary, she does not, she's a Verity, and she wants to chop off all of the Ethians. No, she wants to burn them all at stake. Just like in history, where she was burning I want to say the Lutherans. I want to say it's the Lutherans. She's a Catholic, and she didn't like the Lutherans, and also she burned as many of them as she could. So it's kind of like they took a take on that, and they made Mary exactly how she was in the past. They also have Elizabeth I and King Edward VI, who was Henry VIII's son. They're all Elizabeth, Mary, and Edward were all King Henry VIII's children. It was just really good, and it's just about Lady Jane, who finds out she has to be Queen of England for a little while, and she's not looking forward to it. She'd rather be reading, and I could totally relate to that. I mean, of course. And I just really loved it. I love the humor. I love the fantasy elements. I love the take on that part of history, and I love Tudor England, so this was just amazing, and I gave it 4.5 stars. It was really good. Then I read The Orphan Queen by Jodi Meadows. I had finished My Lady Jane, and Jodi Meadows was one of the authors who wrote that, so I decided to maybe read as many of their books as I could. So I started off with The Orphan Queen by Jodi Meadows, and I liked it. Also has to do with politicalness in this as well. This is about a girl, this is about a princess, Wilhelmina, and her kingdom was taken over. Her parents were killed when she was really young, so her and all the noble children from that kingdom left and were taken to this orphanage, and now they're working on getting her kingdom back from the kingdom that took it. So it was good. I really wanted to like it a lot more than I did. I gave it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what little romance there was. There's not a whole lot. But I enjoyed the characters, and I enjoyed the writing. But yeah, there's just some things that I was just like, okay, well, like, I don't know. It's just the story didn't connect with me as much. I enjoyed some of the characters. Wilhelmina was okay. I didn't love her, but I didn't hate her. So yeah, and what little romance there was, I was good with. But yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars. It was good. It's just about a princess trying to trying to take back her kingdom from the enemy kingdom that took it. But there's also something called the Wraith, which I guess so there are some people who can wield magic. They're called flashers, and magic is forbidden in this world, but there are still people who believe that they could use little magics for everyday, things. Wilhelmina is also a flasher, but she's hiding that, and her kingdom, when she was her kingdom, the kingdom of Acor that was taken over, they believed that they could use magic when as long as they used very little. The reason why magic is forbidden is because it creates wraith, which I can't really explain it, but it's really bad and it kills. So it's like, I don't know, it's like this darkness that kills, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it. But it creates wraith beasts, which come and tear you apart. So yeah, magic is forbidden, and they just don't know how to stop this, the Wraith, and they're trying to figure it out. It's a duology. I have technically read the second one, but that will be for my August wrap-up. But yeah, the series was really good as a whole. The first one was good, and I enjoyed it, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Alright, so I read a whole series, and that was the Unearthly series by Cynthia Hand. It goes Unearthly, Hallowed, and then Boundless. Now, Boundless I read for Booktubeathon, but I read these two before it. So this one, it just has to do with angels, and oh my god, this one's kind of hard. So this one has to do with angels, and just about a girl, Clara, who's learned that she's part angel, and she has this purpose that she has to accomplish or whatever. So she moves to Wyoming, and she keeps seeing this vision, and she knows she has to do something. I don't know exactly how to explain it. But she meets Christian, which is the boy in her dreams or in her visions. So she knows she has to save him from the fire. Because, yeah, her visions are all about a fire, and it's she finds out that the boy in her vision is Christian. Because she moves to a new town, and she meets Christian, which is, yeah. Okay, this is really hard. But yeah, this is really good. I really like the characters. I really like the story. I liked the use of like angels, and like there are different types of angels. There are the how do I say it? They're the Demetrius. I don't know how to say it. And then there's Quartarius. Demetrius, I think. Oh my god, I think that's how you say it. Is like half angel, and then Quartarius is like quarter angel, which is Clara. Cause it's just like a full-blooded and then a half-blooded make quarter-blooded. It was good. I liked the romance in this. There is a love triangle, which is between Clara, Christian, and Tucker. Tucker is just this boy who kind of bullies her. Not bullies, but he picks on her a lot, and you're just like, oh, okay. But I really like him. He's really funny, and he makes me laugh, and I enjoy Tucker. I love Tucker. Christian is good too, but it's like, okay, alright. Tucker's like the hottie, like the popular boy in school, and then Tucker is like, he's not the class clown, but he's like, I don't know how to say it, but I enjoyed it. I really like this one. I gave this one 4.5 stars, and I really enjoyed the sequel. I also gave this 4.5 stars, and then Boundless, surprise, surprise, I gave 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed the series as a whole. I really love Cynthia Hand's writing, and I just love the characters and the romance and everything that happened in here. There were some times that I was just like, I was really upset with, one character or another. It didn't matter if it was Clara or her mother or her friends, or, there are times, or her brother, there are times that I'm just like, this character's getting on my nerves, and then, and then after that, it'd be like, okay, it was good again. But I really enjoyed it, and 4.5 stars all across the board. It was a really good series, and I really enjoyed it, and I want more of Cynthia Hand's writing, so. Alright. So, also for Booktubeathon, I read Scorched by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the sequel / companion to Frigid by her. I loved Frigid. And I love Scorch. Scorch was so good. This has to do with a couple characters from Frigid, Andrea and Tanner, and it's just their story. Andrea suffers from like depression, and I want to say anxiety, but I could be wrong about that. But another thing that she does is she drinks a lot. She drinks to get drunk. And that's really not good, and Tanner is just not a fan of that. But Tanner's like the player, he likes all women, and he wants to be with all women. There's a story between them that you find out in here that I really enjoyed. I love Jennifer L. Armentrout's writing. I love all of her characters, and I normally give all of her books 5 stars, and this was no exception. I just love Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I just love all of her books, so this was really good, and I'm glad she created a companion for Frigid, because Frigid is one of my favorites from her as well. Another book for Booktubeathon I read was a classic, and that was A Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is the first in the John Carter of Mars series. I've believe there is 11 books, I think. But I read this for to read and watch a book to movie adaptation. So I love John Carter. It's one of my favorite movies that Disney ever created. Even though it was technically a flop and not a lot of people liked it, I really enjoyed it and I really loved it. So this one has to do with just a man. He's a Civil War veteran and his name is John Carter. And he gets transported to Mars. And there's a lot of things that was in here that I was just, I wasn't a fan of, like the fact that he learned their language in like a week. I didn't understand how he could do that at all. Like maybe a few words, maybe a few phrases, maybe, able to strike up a conversation, but he just, like, in a week's time started talking to them as if he's known their language, forever. And I'm just like, how the movie definitely explained that better. He was given water and it was able, or some kind of drink, and it was able, he was able to understand and speak their language. That made a lot more sense than what happened in here. There's also some things that I was just like, okay, it's like, it was good. I gave 3 stars. It was definitely a classic I could read. I could keep reading. It wasn't one that I was just like, I'm not getting this at all. It wasn't like truly old language or anything. It was a little, it is like out of it. It is set in like the Civil War time, and this was written in like 1917. So, or before that. So yeah, it's definitely a little older, but I understood it better than than other classics, and I enjoy John Carter, and I love his romance with Dejah Thoris, who is a princess of Helium, which is a kingdom on Barsoom, which is Mars. And yeah, there's just, also another thing I really didn't like is that he was transported to Mars and pretty much automatically knew he was on Mars. How do you know that you're on Mars? Like, how do you even think in your head, oh, I'm on Mars? What? Maybe I read it wrong, but that just really struck a nerve with me. In the movie, he doesn't find out until a little later, and Dejah Thoris had to tell him, you're on Barsoom, you're from Jasum, which Jasum is Earth, Barsoom is Mars. And he's like, I'm on Mars? So that made a lot more sense than what happened in here. But yeah, it was still good. I gave it 3 stars. Also, I read Maid Salma volumes 5 and 6 in this bind up. I really love Maid Salma. You guys know how much I love Maid Salma. 4 stars. I love this series. I love just everything about it. It's really cute and funny, and I love the pictures. I'm not going to go into this because I've already talked about this series so much. But definitely go and pick this up. Maid Salma, so good. I want to get the anime because I want to watch it. I really want to watch it and see how, how it is compared to the manga. And I have one more bind up, and then another bind up came out a couple days ago. So I really want to continue on with this series. It's really good, and I love it. Alright, and then also for Booktubeathon, I read The Curvy Tree, which is a tale from the Land of Stories series by Chris Colfer. It's illustrated by Brandon Dorman. And I just really love the pictures. Just really cute. And it's just about a curvy tree and a little girl, and it's really cute. It's like 30 pages long. It's really not long at all. And I really loved it. I gave it 3 stars again. This is really short but really sweet, and it's like, I think you learn about this in the Land of Stories series. Like, you hear this tale, and this is just this tale come to life, pretty much, or not really, but you know what I mean. I really want to reread the Land of Stories series. The 5th one just came out last month, and I own it, but I want to reread the first 4 and get into the 5th one. But yeah, I love the Land of Story series. I love Chris Colfer's writing. It's just really good, and I highly suggest you read that. It's a really fantastic middle grade series, and it's like my favorite, like one of my favorite middle grade series. Alrighty, then I also picked up Incarnate for Booktubeathon by Jody Meadows, and so I completed the whole series, or trilogy, which is Incarnate, Asunder, and Infinite. Okay, so this series has to do with, so in this world, the people, are reincarnated. So they're old souls, they've lived for 5,000 years, they die and then they're reincarnated. But one day, Anna, the main character, is born, and she is not an old soul, she's a new soul. And that has never happened before, and they don't understand why she's there or how she came to be, and they don't appreciate her because, well, she replaced somebody that they had known for 5,000 years and, you know, were friends with and have loved, and she just came into this world replacing their friend and lover, and so she has no friends. She has nobody who really loves her or takes care of her. She has her mother, the woman who bore her, but she also doesn't like her because, you know, she was anticipating her friend coming back, and yeah. So I feel really bad for Anna. The story was really beautiful, and I really loved this first book here, and I believe I gave it, let me see. I have my notebook. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was good. I really loved everything that's happened in here. I loved the concept of this. I love the concept of reincarnation, and I really liked the romance between her and Sam, even though there's barely any romance into this. Like, it's more towards the end, but it was really good, and I felt so bad for Anna, and I loved her story, even though it like broke my heart every time I found out something new that her mother told her, which was so wrong. But it's really good, and I really enjoyed this first book. Again, I gave it 4.5 stars. And then I continued on with Asunder and Infinite after Booktubeathon. Infinite was the last book I read for the month. And I wasn't really, I didn't love these two as much as I loved the first one. I gave Asunder 3.5 stars, and I gave Infinite 3 stars. Asunder was good. It was a good continuation. I liked learning more about Anna and how she came to be and what was going on, and, you know, all these things. And then Infinite came, and I was like really anticipating how the ending was going to be, and I was just like, alright. And I hated the ending. I can't believe I was saying that, but I really did not enjoy the ending whatsoever. I was just like, what? I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't. Okay, you know what? I'm backing up. I didn't hate the ending so much. I was just thought there'd be more, you know, like, in this whole book, like, you're losing everybody you knew. I was just like, great, like, all these people are dying, and it's not good. There's so many people that die in this series, and I don't know. I mean, I guess it was good, but I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I'm just gonna say it like that. So I gave it 3 stars. I actually remembered the ending being something else, but, I remembered the ending being something else, which I can't remember what ending of what series that was. It could have been the other series I'm going to talk about. I don't know. The ending actually, if I remember correctly, was good. I wanted something more, but it wasn't an awful ending. I'm remembering something else that, you know what, I think it was this one. yeah, okay. So it was the other series that I really, really didn't like the ending whatsoever. So in this one, the ending was good. I figured that was gonna happen. So I just didn't really care for the whole what happened in this. It was good. It wasn't awful. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. But my favorite would still be Incarnate. I really loved the beginning and just everything that happened in this one. But this was a solid series, I would have to say. I don't know. I wish something more happened. I just don't know really what more could have happened, but I don't know. I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to. Alright, so, okay. Oh crap. I have 2 more series to talk about. First one is the In Death series. I started reading these this month, or started getting back into them this month, or for the month of July. So I started reading 1 a week. I read Conspiracy in Death, Loyalty in Death, Witness in Death, and Judgment in Death. The 2 that I really loved were, I believe, Conspiracy and Witness. I gave these 5 out of 5 stars. And then Loyalty and Judgment. Loyalty I gave 4.5 stars, and Judgment I gave 4 stars. It's just, I love this series so much. It's a really, really good series, and I highly recommend it. And this is going to be a 30-minute video. It's a futuristic crime series that just has a really awesome main character and really great side characters, and I love everything about this series, and I highly suggest you pick it up if this interests you at all. It's just really good. It's a really long series though. It's like 40 plus books, but I'm slowly making my way through them, and I'm really enjoying all of the ones that I read. Alright, so now the last series that I read, and the last 3 books that I'm going to talk about in this wrap up. So, okay. The last series that I read was the Captive Prince series by C.S. Pacat. It's Captive Prince, Prince's Gambit, and King's Rising. Now, while I was reading during Booktubeathon, I was watching vlogs for Booktubeathon as well. I really love watching those. I love just seeing what everybody else is reading. And Whitney over at Witty Novels was reading this series, and I had 1 more day to read something, so I started reading Captive Prince during Booktubeathon, and I read it in like a few hours. It was good. I gave it 3 stars. I wasn't totally hooked on it. This is a gay erotica, so if you don't if it's not anything that interests you, I don't suggest you pick it up. But, you know, it was good. It's about Damon, who is... Okay, Damon is the crown prince of this kingdom, and he is like a warrior. He's a hero to his people, and he's the rightful heir to the throne. So, but when his father dies, he is supposed to take over, but his half-brother doesn't want that. He wants to take over, so he captures Damon and sends him to the neighboring kingdom, which is an enemy kingdom, as a pleasure slave. And just stuff goes from there. So there's Damon, who is the prince of Aquilos, and Laurent, who is the prince of... I can't think of the neighboring kingdom. I want to say Vane or Vare. Okay. Laurent is the prince of Vare. So Damon goes to Vare, and he is supposed to be Laurent's pleasure slave, which is a sex slave. There's not a lot of sex in this. There is some. I mean, it is an erotica. But there's not a lot. It's not like others, which is like sex is like in every other chapter or every other page. This is more like political, like politics wise. which I enjoyed, but I wasn't really hooked on this. I didn't really like the characters as much. I was just like, okay, this is good. I gave it 3 stars. So then I read Princess Gambit, which is my favorite one of the series. I gave it 4.5 stars, I believe. No, I gave it 4 stars. So it just continued on from where the last one left off, and it just goes, or it continues with Laurent and Damon's like relationship, and they just become more, you know, intimate with each other, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, definitely gave this one 4 stars. I really liked Laurent in this one, where in the other one I really didn't like him at all. There were parts in the first one that I liked him, but not as a whole. But in this one I liked him a little more, and I really loved Damon, and I just love that they were working together. And it was really good. And again, more political than like sex, but there is some sex. And then I read King's Rising, which is the 3rd and final book in the series, and I gave this one 3.75 stars. This one was really good too. It wrapped up you know, what needed to be wrapped up. The only thing is, there were a few things that didn't go, that weren't answered, or there were things that, there were a few things that just were not answered whatsoever, and that like really upset me. I wanted more from it because of that. I felt like I was missing some things, and I was, but I have heard that C.S. Picot is writing a few shorts for this series. I can't remember what the first one was called. It was something weird. But they're 3 shorts, and they're supposed to answer the 3 questions that didn't go answered in this series, which was good, which is really good, and I am definitely going to be reading those when they come out. I know the first one has to do with Lady Chocaste, which, she was a character in this, not a very favorable character. She was a villain, pretty much. Well, she came off as a villain, but who knows towards the end. I won't, you know, spoil it if you really want to read it, but, something about her didn't go answered, or weren't, something about her just, like, what happens to her, was just not answered. I didn't appreciate that. I was like, what's going on? I want to know what happened to her. And then there's going to be an epilogue for Damon and Laurent, because that was like, this is the one with the ending that pissed me off. I was just like, this is all you're giving me? Like, what? And then the last short that's gonna come out is a surprise. So you don't know what that one's gonna be. But, I enjoyed this series. I was hooked. This was like crack. I read this one during Booktubeathon in a few hours, and I immediately went to this one, and I immediately went to this one after this. So, I was just like, I was reading these like crazy, and I had other books I needed to read, and I didn't get to one of them, which I got to this month, or in the month of August, but yeah, I was just like, wow, this one took up my life for, you know, a good few days. It was good though, I enjoyed it, and I have to say my favorite would still be this one, and my least favorite would be this one, even though it should be this one because of the unanswered questions, but I enjoyed most of what went on in this, but this one I didn't. So yeah, that was my reading wrap up, and I'm really, really sorry that this video is 35 minutes long. There's nothing I could do. I tried to be as quick as I could, but I wasn't, apparently. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was really long. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.